Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for almost 500 episodes.
Yeah, I think this is 498.
But yeah, we're getting close on 500, so we're going to have to think of something for that one, huh?
Something real cool and sexy. But if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week is Matthew K. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew. Good name. Good, strong Christian name.
Strong name. Yeah.
Good, strong Christian name.
I for 500, I know like Zyber's been sending some ideas. Just like there's got to be.
The thing is, we did like our favorite games, our favorite consoles. We kind of so I feel like, we're having a bit of a plankton moment here, where it's just like, what do you do now? I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far.
We're in a real corner where it's like, no, I mean, it can't be. I don't even remember everything we've said over 500 episodes. Part of me was all like best episodes, favorite episodes, where we talk about the main point from a favorite episode, but. I don't know. That also feels very up our own ass.
Yeah, it's our podcast. We don't have to sniff our own farts.
Oh. That's like an image that I've never truly. You're hotboxing yourself.
You've never had that happen.
No, I mean, I've accidentally but I've never Have you ever met somebody who's just like trying to smell their own farts?
I mean, the president?
Like a dog. My dog farts and he sticks his nose straight to his butthole to get it from the source.
Our dog, Foxy's done that too. So
disgusting. Little freaks.
Almost like confirming, was that me? Yeah, that was you.
Am I healthy? Am I dying? But okay, we're going to talk. We're actually taking suggestion from Zyber to talk about games we hope don't get forgotten. Best games of the first half of 2025 that hopefully don't get.
I mean, there's
bias to hell.
Yeah, because I feel like the discussion's already, and there's already been this stupid civil war online between Claire Obscure and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and it's like, and rather than being like, holy cow, 2 cakes. It's like, no, this game's better. This game's
someone's got to win.
It's like
someone's got to win.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to talk about a game I actually think pound for pound was better start to finish than both of them. How about that?
Then both of them.
How about that?
Because I expected you to say that Bonanza. Best game of the year.
I mean, I would, and I don't even have a problem with someone who thinks that either. But we'll talk about it, I guess.
All right.
Because I think the whole point here is that, a lot of games, really good games, we chase the movie industry so much that it happens the same way. Where you get to your GOTY, what's the GOTY, and people forget what came out. The only time I remember a game coming out in January and it won GOTY without even blinking was Resident Evil 4. That's because it was Resident Evil 4. You don't release the best game ever and then people forget about it.
Yeah, it's a forever thing. When we were first talking about this, and I guess we'll start with it. But when we were first talking about this, I set a game, and both of us had to confirm that it came out this year, and that's Split Fiction, which was very good. We both liked that game.
Split Fiction is excellent.
Yeah. One of the things about Split Fiction that I just wasn't, because initially you have to play it in co-op.
You do.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to I like co-op a lot, but I don't know if I want to have to play it. But no, especially if you do it on the couch, it's a little confusing at first, but it's good stuff.
It's so good. It's kind of funny how the conversation is so much about Claire Obscure versus Donkey Kong, and I'm like, and Split Fiction is actually kind of right there.
Right there.
And I think like the Metacritic for it is insane. So how is nobody talking about this anymore? Kind of thing.
Because January feels like it was last year.
Right? It's like a 90. It's like a 91 on Metacritic still. So it's just like how 93 on Xbox. So
Did
91,
you
93. If you
did
how
you
you look
play it
at it.
twice? Did you go through as the other person? After you?
Halfway. Like me and
Okay,
Nadia
I
went
didn't
through
at
it,
all.
and then we went through about half or 2/3 of the game as a group with YoVideogames. At first, they didn't want to let me play it because, oh, you already played it. It's not going to be as exciting for you. And I'm just like, you die so much in the game. It's like, guys, like eventually, like the second day, I was like, guys, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter even if I know what to do. Like we're all gonna we're going to kill each other however many times.
Like a lot.
Yeah, like a lot. Like this is a silly argument.
That's actually probably one of my arguments for why it's good, because sometimes a co-op game where the other person's depending on you can be really stressful, but you die
Yeah.
so much in it, and for sometimes goofy reasons, that it's like it takes the pressure off.
It don't matter. The funny thing about, I mean, I'm a little speaking for some other people here, but it was like, I think Steve was really interested in finishing the game. And then I feel like Max and Kenny were both kind of like, we had our fill because like we had streamed for so long. So it had gone so late, the stream had to end because it was like, whatever odd hour of the morning. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like 2/3 through. And I think Max and Kenny were like, this is good, had our fill. And Steve was kind of like, I think Steve actually still wishes, we had finished it, still wanted to finish it. And I mean, the ending is really incredible from a technical perspective, I think. So I think not knowing, and I don't want to spoil it, but like, yeah, if you don't know what happens during sort of like the last sequence, technically how whatever they're doing with the engine is really cool looking. And I feel like you're missing out by not going
what
through all of it.
engine?
Unreal. It's Unreal 5.
It is Unreal 5.
But they do no lumen and no nanite. They do none of that like CPU computational heavy or AI heavy lighting. They use baked in lighting.
Huh.
So what the result has been is that the game is incredibly stable, doesn't have any of the frame pacing issues because it's not trying to do any on the fly calculation stuff for ray tracing and light sourcing and whatever. And they're like, nah, just baked in lighting, put the light bulb here and it shines. That's it.
And it still looks great.
It still looks great. And it was one game, there was another one, I don't even remember what, but it was kind of getting to this point like, maybe we just, you don't have to use every feature of your engine you're using,
Yeah, we're gonna come to a point where we realize we don't need ray tracing. We don't
Yeah.
need we don't need any of that.
I'm still waiting for the argument. Because like the pushback I always get is like, you're so stupid, you don't understand how this is absolutely what developers want to do with them or what we should be doing. It's amazing, but I don't ever get an example because to me it's always like, okay, so what's the trade-off here? Is that we have games that stutter, games that have imperfect frame pacing, things that just look off, things that just whatever. You have all these issues so reflections can be accurate. And I'm like, I don't really care. I feel like a good game with good lighting is like not a DP, but like on a set, you have a lighting technician. And their job is not to make things look the most realistic. Well, really in this scene when this guy's holding, the character and they're in the cave of water, like the reflection should be like glimmering all over their face. Like you should see like the waves, or like whatever. And but a good filmmaker would like, that's hyper distracting. We don't want that in the moment.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that, so we're not going to do that. Like that's the thing. It's like good filmmaking is you don't do natural lighting all the time because that looks terrible. You do what's going to make the film look good. And in gaming, I kind of feel like, okay, well, a good game that's well lit will not have this issue because if someone's placing the lights correctly, even if it is unnatural, it's better. So I don't care about reflective surfaces that much. Maybe in some horror games, sure. Maybe in some instances, sure. But like, we have to sacrifice the entire performance of a game on modern technology because you needed reflective lighting.
I think one of the coolest things that you learn when you're like going through film. Actually, I didn't learn this in like film school. I learned this after the fact. A buddy of mine who is a DP pointed this out, and now I see it everywhere. And it's not 100% true, but in his words, all the best DPs do this. The stylized shot is the master shot where you see the least amount of detail, right? You're wide
Yeah.
out, that shot hyper stylized. That's where you'll see like Rembrandt lighting and crazy shit like that. And then especially in modern films, as you move in closer, the lighting becomes cleaner and softer the closer you get. So in
Yeah.
close up, they're much more evenly lit. The contrast ratio, even if it's supposed to be a complete side lighting, in modern films anyway, the contrast will be the ratio will be a lot smaller. So it's like it becomes pointedly about the performance the closer you get in, and so the lighting takes a back seat, even though
Yeah.
the lighting will be really cool and beautiful.
Yeah,
Same thing
Guilty
with
Gear,
games.
Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball. Do you know if you had ray tracing? Do you know that those games would look terrible because all those games are breaking every lighting thing in the book? Like,
Oh right, yeah.
how did they get the cell shading to look the way it did? I'm like, because they're actually breaking every rule for lighting, and they're putting light sources in places they shouldn't be just so that they can get that hand-drawn effect, because they don't have natural shadowing in Guilty Gear Fighters, because on purpose, because like, no, it doesn't look 2D enough. They're trying to trick your eye into making it look 2D. And how do they do that? Well, very specific shading that is completely unnatural. So
Yeah, I
break your light sources.
yeah, go for looks and performance over reality.
Yeah, and that's what Split Fiction did. Again, like we talk all about lighting, but yeah, the game is great and it runs great because they didn't try to do everything that an engine can do. They just did what they needed it to do.
And it's still ambitious. It's not like they didn't, try to do something amazing. Like they did. They did something
Yeah,
amazing, and they also
again, when you
yeah.
see that last, I don't know, I don't want to call it a boss sequence, but sequence, last, event sequence in the game, and what they
Right.
are doing with the engine, hugely impressive.
So Split Fiction, both of us, we sort of did forget. I
We
didn't
did.
forget. I
You
knew
said
it,
Split Fiction. I'm
but
like, man, I forgot about Split Fiction.
but it came out in January. I think it came out in January.
No, March.
March. Okay, well, then never mind. No, it's just like a black hole of. Well, I wonder, is it because the Game Awards happen? Like, does everybody assume if it came out before the Game Awards, it was last year's
Well, the
game?
weird thing is like, it was announced at the Game Awards,
Right.
and then it came out in like March or April. I
The
think it was
internet's
early. Was it early
ruining my
April?
brain.
Yeah, early April or something like that.
Hmm.
So
What's a game that got memory hold for you, or maybe a game that you're worried is going to get forgotten?
oh, I'm not worried it'll get forgotten. It just will get forgotten. Um, so the arguably, yeah, March it came out. Arguably the best game I've played this year, through to through, start to finish, is, and I hate the title so much. I'll say the real title, and then I'll Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Like a Pirate.
is-
Pirate. Yakuza Pirates is probably the most solid game start to finish, because I have
Aw.
slight issues both in different places with Expedition 33 and with Donkey Kong Bonanza. But Pirate Yakuza was pretty much phenomenal start to finish.
It's that perfect. How many hours is that game?
Oh man, 30-ish, maybe more.
30 hours.
Well, I know I was dicking around. Like I wasn't doing. Yeah, a total playtime is 38 hours, and I know I did a lot of I did a lot of side stuff. So you could probably cut that down to 25 even.
Bill, that's it's a pretty solidly long game.
Yeah. I did a lot of Taika, but that game it always gets forgotten. Even Yakuza 0 the year it came out, unfortunately, was 2017. But like Yakuza 0 kind of got like heavily forgotten the year it came out.
Well, I mean, it's a weird series in that I don't know anybody that dislikes the series,
Yeah.
and actually, I know a lot of people that love the series, but it very seldomly gets called on as like game of the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where it is reuse. There's a lot of reuse. Like it reuses a whole area from Yakuza 8, but it's in real time now. It is no longer in turn based. But there's a bunch of new areas too that it's not. There's a whole sailing and island hopping mechanic that's not in 8 or any other game. They made it just for this game. Um,
Is it?
there's
I mean,
so
it's getting more ambitious for sure.
but it doesn't seem like they're slowing down either. But you know, we have moments that we like in games, but I don't. Man, I can't remember the last time a game was this funny. Like just, and there's heart too with it, obviously, but like this game was just insanely. It made me laugh so much, so many times. Um,
It's the same main character as 8, right?
no, it's Majima.
Oh, it's Majima?
Majima's the main character. It's his first game where he is the sole protagonist.
Yes. Well, but it's crazy version of Majima, right? It's not because
It's
he's nuts
amnesia
by
to
now.
It's an amnesia to Majima.
Huh.
So he's kind of his own. He doesn't remember much. Like he's actually not crazy like he is in the rest of the series. He's actually more just it's almost like a different esque version of him, where he just like, oh yeah, I'll become a pirate captain. That sounds great. Kind of.
I played 0. I played 0 and I played one other one, but I didn't beat the other one. I beat 0.
Yeah.
And like I loved 0, but like I got it. I got enough out of it's sort of like I play one Pokemon game every 5 Pokemon games. I got it.
Right.
Um and so I wanted to play Like a Dragon because it looked fresh, kind of. It looked like something
Mhm.
they hadn't done before. And now I'm wondering if I'm going to have to like go and play a bunch to enjoy the fact that Majima is the main character finally.
Actually, not really, because again, they do the whole thing where he's got amnesia, so he doesn't remember anything.
We love that.
There's a little bit of a tie into 8, because some people are like, yeah, you should beat 8 because they reference things that happened.
Okay.
It's post 8. I'm like, it's like,
And this is going to be brutal sounding. Can I just
oh
watch a
yeah,
YouTube video?
oh for sure, you could watch. You could watch a YouTube video about. I mean, I could just tell you it, and there's because again, it's only a tiny bit related or whatever. Because in 8, the main central plot involves this cult that owns a private island where they do all their training, their kids or whatever, all their faithful to be whatever. Anyways, in this game, that because you disband the cult in
The
8.
leader of the cult, a New York financier.
No, but he's in this one.
Huh.
A New York financier is in this one who was
Hmm.
who was best friends with the cult leader from 8, who's also an American. Anyways, an outsider American.
Huh.
Anyway, so yeah,
Come.
like in 8, the whole thing is like the cult is basically using their island for radioactive waste, where people can store their nuclear waste on this island because they privately own it. There's a lot of logistics in 8 that I was like, this could not happen. Like
Look,
this
yeah,
could
that you
like
just
you can
hand wave
own.
it and
I'm like you can own your own island in but if it's part of the Hawaiian archipelago, um, that's still American soil. You cannot like whatever. I'm not going to get into it. Anyways, so the whole thing is I'm spoiling 8 a little bit here. But yeah, like this cult owns a private island. They're trying to use a backhanded deal to like for other governments to dump their waste. Basically, it's like, hey, Japan wants to get rid of its Fukushima Daiichi. They never say it by name, Fukushima Daiichi, but we want to get rid of our nuclear fall waste from Fukushima. Can we just like? And this guy's like, here, dump it on my private island, and I'll pay you a bunch of money to keep silent about it. So you disrupt that, right? And there's a lot more to it in 8. But anyways, in this game, same islands involved, but everyone, the cult's been disbanded, everything's there. So you do eventually go to this island because there's a hidden pirate treasure somewhere on this island that the cult used to live on. And there's claims that like
the pirate treasure.
You sure do. That's a spoiler, Andrew. I just said yes.
Look, I don't want to waste my time if pirate treasure is not real. All right, it's not about the friends I made along the way. I want the fucking treasure. Okay, so it's gonna get forgotten. It's not gonna get game of the year.
No, it's not. But like Samoa Joe being the bad guy, and just so much fun. Like, there's just so many moments in that game that are just like, oh man, this is just so great. Like I'm laughing so hard at it, and it's funny because like most Yakuza games do that thing where like they take place in a tiny little area of a city, like just
Right.
use just the red light district of whatever area. And this one, again, you have a whole boat and you can sail around all these different little chunks of the ocean. And there's this again, there's a very long-winded side quest that you do where you're chasing this notorious pirate leader, and he has like a huge pirate gang. Like they're the worst of the worst. And you chase him to, I think you chase him to some volcanic islands. And they're like the fiery islands. And then you get there and you kill his general because he has like 4 generals you have to take down. And you kill the general. He's like, well, he's not even here. He's in the frozen islands now. And then Majima goes, there's a fucking frozen islands.
Okay, I'm
like the way he responds is just so accurate to like how me is. I would literally be like, there's a fucking frozen islands now. And Majima goes, there's a fucking frozen islands now. Yeah.
It reminds me of when I played Wolf Among Us, and I like some annoying monkey character or something, and I was like, oh fuck you. And the very next option that pops up is, oh fuck you. It's like, hell yeah. I love it when the writer knows where your brain's going.
There's another long-winded side quest where you're trying to set up a bunch of dates for this one guy, your cook on your ship, who's like, getting like, old male loneliness syndrome. And one of them's a streamer, so you have to help her set up her stream. And then you have to help her like host the stream and play old video games, play old retro video games. So like they do this whole thing about like, getting her PC and her PC equipment, her stream set up, and then like, how you have to act on stream, how you have to be on, how you have to be entertained, how you respond to the chat, how you respond to like criticism from the chat, all this other stuff. And I think and they're playing like an old Master System game. And I think you can play Master System games in the game, but yeah.
There has to be somebody that played that was like, well, this is no fun, and they gave up on their dream of being a streamer.
But they actually play it really straight. There's one where like this character's like, and these are real people too. So this actually is based off a real person who won like a contest or something.
Huh.
Because like all the girls in this side quest are all people who won like a contest to be characters in the next game.
What a fun idea.
Yeah, I mean, and this is super spoilery, I guess, but the end of that quest line is the guy goes on dates with all of them, and it cuts to real life footage of you see this guy who's a comedian in Japan who is the facial model for the character in the game, but they filmed 4 real life episodes of this guy blowing it on 4 different dates with real people.
Yeah, all right. I'm sort of sold on this. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't play it.
It's so good. There's a Dragon Ball quest where you have to get like, you collect the 7 Dragon Balls to get a wish granted. And the guy's like, I want balls. I just want you got to find the balls. And so the balls are all hidden on like statues and stuff right on like dudes' crotches, or like a guy will be like, lounging in a pool, but he's sitting on on like one of the golden balls. So you have to zit like, hook shot, like, right out of his nuts, like to get the ball and stuff like that. And that has its own wacky ending. So there's like, and then there's in 8, there was a whole Pokemon mini game where you basically like, the wacky freaks were their own Pokemon. They're called like Sugimon or something like that. And you had a whole Pokemon league and you enter it just like the Elite Four. The whole thing in 8, they had a whole Pokemon thing. So you would go around, you would beat a dude up, and then you would like try to like give him, instead of a Pokeball, you try to like convince him to join your team by like giving him gifts and showering him with like certain like, encouragement or whatever. And then they join you and they become Sugimon. You become Sugimon. So this game, not as big. They have Pokemon, they have Sugimon, they have Sicko Snap. So instead of Pokemon Snap, they literally have a whole Pokemon Snap full-on game of you going around Honolulu, Hawaii, taking pictures of men in sling speedos gyrating around. And you get graded just like Pokemon Snap on for getting the best shots, especially of the goods.
This is not going to be Steve's goatee.
This is everyone's goatee.
Steve's gonna be very anti this game, Goaty.
I don't know. There
He's
was
very
actually a really
anti-speedo.
there's a weird quest. Like one of the date girls, like she's like really prim and proper. She's like, working for a politician or something like that. But then like you find her like gooning out at like a sex shop, and then you have this whole thing where like you basically have to. They don't really do anything like crazy with it, but it's just like you have to give her encouragement and just be like, you know what? Why don't you just be who you are? Like you can be sex positive, but not be creepy about it. Da 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 da. So it was this whole like there's this tiny mini quest where it was just like how to be sex positive sex worker kind of thing, stuff like that, like just all kinds. There's just so many random things. There's one where like you're trying to help this girl wants to hook up with this guy, but this guy's a total like wimp and a weeb kind of, or he's really actually a true Japanophile, but he's just like this wimpy dork, and this girl really likes him, but she's like this super tough chick, and she's like, he's not gonna notice me if I'm like so you get into all these, there's this fun things where like you're like trying to like she's like, he likes Japan, do you know anything about Japan? He's like, I think I'm Japanese. And so they basically ask you, the player, to answer questions about Japan, and Majima doesn't remember, so you don't remember. So you're kind of at a loss, and she's just doing this so she can have a good conversation with this guy on this date. And then you find out like, oh, someone tries to mug them, and she beats the shit out of this guy, tries to mug this couple. And she's like, yeah, see, I'm like, she's like a fighter, she's like a really tough chick, but she was just like, man, I just really like this guy, he's really nice and sweet to me. Like these are the kind of side quests you go on in Yakuza and stuff.
And no one's going to remember it, so it's not going to get any attention at the awards ceremony.
There's a thing where there's this grifter who's trying to like get people to look at his like totally illegal like wild exotic animal show, and you end up helping to like free a polar bear and a tiger, and they become summons for you. So well, there's a good one. There's another guy who's trying to create the world's best bidet. He wants to create the world's best ass blasting experience. He's a good party member.
Okay, well, wait a second. Have you ever used a bidet?
Yeah,
they're pretty great.
Yeah. Well, and you'll hear about it from this side character who's all about it. But you can get him on your crew, and then when you do crew to crew fights, because you'll do this thing where like you're getting these big fights with other ships at sea, and then like when you disable their ship, you board them, and you jump on the other ship and you fight the other ship. Oh, yeah. And you fight alongside your crew, and your crew comes with you. And this guy has like this big old giant like super soaker bidet cannon. He's really good because he's distance projectile fighter. But like these are just the things you do in like a pirate.
It's what's weird is it sounds like a fever dream.
It is.
And I feel like the game did not sell itself well enough if this is everything that you do, because this sounds insane. In the best of ways, it sounds insane.
All kinds of other good stuff too. There's like a go-karting mini game and everything. So it just plays like Mario, like kind of like a weird Mario Kart. So yeah, you Mario Kart around Honolulu, stuff like that.
Well, that's kind of, when did that come out? What?
Like February. Came out a week before Monster Hunter.
Yeah, well, that's another one is like Monster Hunter. Although this one, from what I've heard, is not anywhere near as good as was Monster Hunter
Wilds,
right? And this one's Monster Hunter.
Oh, this one's
Wilds. What was the last one? So it was Monster Hunter
Rise
or World?
World, then Rise. Rise was the Switch. Rise is on everything now, but Rise was on Switch originally. So it was World, Rise, Wilds.
The World is kind of the one that everyone agrees is like fantastic.
Most people really like Worlds. In fact, more people just went back to World after they got bored with Wilds.
Yeah, because Wilds isn't as, I don't know if it is as good. I played World for a while.
Wilds got problems. Wilds got real problems because it's RE Engine, and it was trying to do open world, and guess what? Didn't work. The game is super unoptimized. It still has trouble. You pretty much have to use frame generation. So you have to use like AI, like filling in frames to like for the game to run smooth at all.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to get forgotten.
Wilds is, I think, going to be on a lot of people's most disappointing list, and kind of frankly mine too. Wilds, the game's called Wilds, right? So what you're assuming that the game's going to have like a huge focus on exploring, right? And it's funny because they literally took away exploration requirements from World. Because in World, if you wanted to hunt a new big monster, first you had to find like proof of the monster, like tracks, dung.
Right.
You know what? They took that away in Wilds, and now you just go out there and kill it. And the monsters die way faster in Wilds than they do in Rise or World. Way faster. So you can bully these things really easily. And there's no home base. You just have a roaming camp that just kind of like sets up a big camp everywhere, like all these different little points in the world map. And to me, the thing that kills Wilds is that there's 5 major hunting areas and a couple side areas where you don't actually hunt. You just like shop area or whatever, right?
Right.
There's 5 hunting areas. 3 of them are fucking caves. Like, you have a desert, you have a rainforest, and then you have a lava cave, and then you have an ice cave, and then you have just like a cave with like weird, like gooey, like weird techno goo stuff or whatever.
Do you
At the
think that
bottom.
that's like they had to do that because RE Engine wasn't?
Maybe, but like, it's just so weird that a game that's called Wilds, and they're like, oh, we have these, and the other thing too is like we have these seasonal changes because there's 3 different seasons, and the season can change while you're out in it, and all that really means is you have a sort of hazy, you have a stormy, and you have an actually clear and pretty, and you want it to be the time of plenty or whatever, spring season, what it really is. You want it to be spring all the time because you can actually see, so you
But
can
the
see
other two let
clearly.
the game run better.
Kind
no,
of,
I don't know
not
if they
even
would, though,
necessarily,
'cause
because like
weather
Stormy
effects,
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah, all the weird Stormy, because you have like this tornado Stormy in the desert with lightning, and then it's just pouring rain constantly in the rainforest, and then there's just like the sort of hazy, I guess you could say, summer fall season, and they don't really look that great. And then when it's springtime, it's like, oh, it looks great. It's like and then when you're in the caves, you don't even know. Like, I guess they're seasonal, but you can't even really tell because it's a cave. Or looks like a cave.
It gets
So
hazy in the cave. It
yeah,
just
or
looks like a
hazy.
fog machine
I don't know.
turned on.
I can't even. Yeah, exactly. Like someone turned the fog machine on or off or something. So it's like, man, this game. Yeah, this game definitely, I think, let a lot of people down, which is why World has a higher concurrent player base than Wilds, even though Wilds came out within the last few months.
What friend do we have that plays Monster Hunter the most? Is it Bojack?
Bojack. Well, he's been
Bojack.
an OG. He's an OG. He was right. He was all about Monster Hunter from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, from the very beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was on the DS at one point.
3DS.
3DS, right?
It was Monster Hunter's journey has been PS2 to PSP to Wii briefly to kind of back to PSP, PSP Wii, and then 3DS.
Right.
Then
I think
finally,
he's played it on all of them. I think I think he had it on PSP.
Yeah.
I think he's the earliest he's the earliest other person I knew that had PSP, and he was telling me I needed to get Monster Hunter on PSP, and I don't know if I did. I can't remember.
I to me, it's kind of like fascinating how much of a sales success in Japan Monster Hunter was, but I mean, it really shows you how connected people are on public transit. That they would play Monster Hunter on the trains as they were on their way to work or whatever, right?
Right.
Because playing that game solo, like complete true
Rough.
solo dolo, rough. Yeah,
Really rough,
and it wasn't even truly online. I mean, it was funny because Monster Hunter 1 was online. It was online on PS2. And all the jankiness that PS2 online was, and it was online on the Wii for 1, 2, and 3 and 3 was on the Wii. And then I don't know but it wouldn't even matter if the PSP ones were technically, they could have been technically online. But the point is that usually most people in Japan were playing them locally, ad hoc. So they might have been online, but I don't think they were. I think the 3DS ones were online. I'm pretty sure they were.
You just gave me this weird nostalgia punch to the nuts where I was all like, you know what I wish came back? SOCOM. SOCOM, the earliest, I think that's the earliest online, that or what was the Metal Gear Online that was on PS2?
Yep. Metal Gear Online.
Yeah, but yeah, SOCOM, the earliest online game I played, I think.
Wow.
Is it? Or was no, SOCOM 2 or 3 was before before Xbox One really, or the original Xbox really took off, right?
It came out around the same time because like Xbox had a built-in modem, but it didn't have Xbox Live wasn't a thing until like a year into the console's life, a year or
Yeah, then
so in.
SOCOM's probably the earliest game. I just had this weird, like, you know what? Why has that died? This is not the topic of the episode, but why? Where is the who's the developer of SOCOM?
Zipper.
And they're gone.
Zipper Interactive. Yeah, they're gone because they died when they tried to make massive action game.
That's right. God.
And then yeah, SOCOM got like outsourced to Slant Six, who made Operation Raccoon City, and they sucked at their job. And they sucked at SOCOM, they sucked at Resident Evil, and then I think Zipper tried to come back for SOCOM for like 4 or something, but
Yeah,
it was
in
too late.
2011. And then they made a Vita game, Unit 13.
That's right, Unit 13. Yeah, was that Zipper? Sheesh, that must have been the last thing Zipper ever did.
Very last thing they made before they went defunct. Man, SOCOM 4 was on PS3, but I didn't own a PS3 ever. So the last one that I played was actually probably SOCOM 2, not SOCOM 3.
Yeah, 3 was on PS3, I think, and that was the Slant 6 one, I think, and nobody liked it. Or that was Fireteam Bravo. I might be mixing up my SOCOM lore here, but it's SOCOM, so
Yeah, SOCOM 2 is the last one that I played. Oh. Well, they only shut down in August of 2012. The online servers for SOCOM on PS2 and PSP didn't shut down until 2012. That is incredible.
sheesh.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Totally off topic. But yeah, I think Monster Hunter is going to be the forgotten or just the one everyone talks about as a disappointment. For me, I think one game that I thought was really great that nobody talks about anymore. It's just me is Avowed. Which it came out in February.
February, yeah. You and Schreier, you both love Avowed.
It's just me and him. It's me and him against the world. Makes me wonder what he played. You know, like what class and everything. Avowed. The thing is like nothing was necessarily groundbreaking about Avowed, in my opinion, but everything was good. It just felt like a good Western RPG. So if you like Western RPGs,
like, isn't that all it really needed to be, though? See, the funny thing is, you know what's going to drown Avowed a little bit in the later half of the year is Outer Worlds 2, their other game from Obsidian.
Yeah, do you think they themselves are gonna be?
I mean, more people will probably be talking more about Outer. Well, it depends on, I guess, how well Outer Worlds, because Avowed was well received, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Avowed is a side game of another series, right? What is
not the Planescape Torment, the Tides of whatever. It's their indie RPG. They
Pillars
funded
of Eternity.
Pillars of Eternity. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. Set on Aora.
Yeah. Set within their own little world they created for their other game.
You get to fight sick bears. Don't you want to fight a sick bear? You get to kill a bear.
I mean, it's got an 81 on Metacritic, so it's pretty good. Obviously, it's not like it's not winning any.
Yeah,
it's not winning. It's probably not going to win any GOTY stuff. It's certain, like, unfortunately, everyone's brain is on Claire Obscure, so we're not even going to have that conversation. And I think it's a weird conversation, anyways, when you really break it down on the whole. Well, what's better between this and Claire Obscure? I'm like, they go for such different things. It almost feels disingenuous to compare them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I ever had the hope or the expectation that Avowed would get GOTY. I don't think it is a perfect game by any means. I just think it is just like it's a solid game. It feels like it got passed over purely because Xbox has like no goodwill at all.
Right, yeah.
We tried to give them goodwill. We thought maybe they were turning around. And
nope.
They didn't. They sank real fast. There's maybe 3 or 4 episodes where we talk positively about the direction that Xbox is going, and people gave a shit. I remember people being like, what were they called? They were calling us like Xbox fanboys or something like that.
Yeah.
We were like, wow, they have real potential, and they dicked it. And they dicked it hard. And actually, they released everything super exciting in the first 6 months of this year, anyway. I guess so.
Yeah, man, I was like, man, I was kind of really hoping they were going to have like a really killer second half to really kind of like capitalize on such a good first half, and well, their second half they just torpedoed themselves. They had a really dull press conference, and then they literally canceled games that they name dropped in it like weeks later. So
Yeah.
good job, Satya. I'm gonna go right to the source. Satya Nadella, like, yeah, good job. GG's, buddy. It's just fuck that division of your company, right?
Yeah, look, if you were holding out hope for Xbox like we were, nope. They're not living up to it. So yeah, Avowed is one that I think is going to be forgotten by the time Game Awards comes around, unless Microsoft bribes somebody. I don't know who he'd bribe, Keely, but
yeah, I feel like at this point it's kind of like maybe it'll get an RPG nomination. Obviously Claire's going to win it, obviously, but like Claire Obscure, Outer Worlds 2, possibly Avowed. I think Avowed might be at least nominated because they're going to have at least 5 nominations. So maybe it'll end up in nominations.
What other really great RPGs have come out this year? I mean, it technically, like a pirate is an RPG.
Kind of. It's a character action game RPG, really. But
okay, yeah, fair. I was trying to.
If it was turn based like 8, sure, but
I just don't. I'm not sure that they have 5 truly solid RPGs.
Well, hey, it'll at least get nominated then, because again, Outer Worlds 2, alongside Avowed, which is going to be funny how a company will have 2 games RPG of the year the same year.
Yeah, and Xbox will probably shut them down next year. So,
right?
Look how promising Obsidian is. I guess we better kill them.
Oh, well, all their projects are done.
That's not true.
It's like, oh, well, all their projects are done, so they're not going to have anything for a while. Well, I guess it's time to get rid of them, isn't it?
If that happens, I will feel so bad for jinxing it. Like, that'll be so bad. I think I would genuinely feel terrible. Another game that I don't think... This is the game that I think is going to win GOTY, even though I don't particularly like it. And I think it's going to win GOTY purely because Kojima's due. I think Death Stranding 2 is probably going to... I think it's going to stay in the conversation purely because it's Kojima. I see why people really like it. And having played it further, it does address a lot of the things that I was initially complaining about. It's still not for me, but it's good.
I don't know.
I don't know that it'd be GOTY without it being a Kojima game.
It does have an 89 on Metacritic, but
it's good. It's a good game.
The first game didn't win any GOTYs. I don't think this one's winning any GOTYs either.
You don't think Keely will do it just because he's owed?
No. Well, again, Keely probably counts for 1 vote, but I mean, it's a panel of judges. And
does anybody believe that Keely doesn't
again, it's like what? Like it's like 80 or 90% is based on, and they show you which they even name drop every single outlet that is the judges on the awards itself. I just don't see, because it didn't. I felt the way you're feeling now for the first Death Stranding, and it didn't happen. Which is why I'm like, okay, I don't really feel it's going to happen for this one either, because this one strangely feels like it's flying a little under the radar.
It does feel oddly forgotten pretty
quick. I think Switch launching at the same time as the Switch 2, and then Bonanza right now being the game on everyone's mind, is like people have kind of forgot Death Stranding pretty quickly.
I think there's a weird, like, the internet seems to be moving faster this year. And that could also just be like old man screaming at cloud. But also, like, it feels like things are just moving. Like the zeitgeists are changing so fast this year.
Yeah.
Even more so than previous years. It feels like 2020 kicked off this weird, like, the internet is this constant hive of moving forward. Like, who's the next main character type thing. But it feels especially.
I mean, the thing is like I'm almost the same way myself, where there's supposed to be a rumored I don't think it's happening. They would have said it by now. There's supposed to be there's supposed to be a rumored Nintendo Direct this week or next week, and I'm kind of like, I hope so, because I feel like I don't really know what I'm excited for on the Switch 2 now that Bonanza's out.
Well, Bonanza's what did you say to me before we started recording? There's like maybe a couple of things, but like it is an excellent game.
Oh, it is absolutely GOTY contender. Like it is Clair Obscure and Donkey Kong Bonanza and Like a Pirate. These are my 3 games right now. These are my 3 GOTYs right now. And Like a Pirate or Like a Dragon, Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii, stupid ass name. That is the most consistent start to finish for me.
Okay.
Clair Obscure loses me a bit in the ending. The ending, I feel, not what happens in the ending, but just sort of the script of just ignoring the entire rest of the game in Act 3 kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it feels like there were some interesting questions or dialogue exchanges that could have been had. They just ignore and just don't.
We got the first time we talked about this, we got an interesting comment that that went in deep as like a rebuttal to you, and I'm gonna butcher it, so I'm not gonna try and cover their points. But it was actually they had like good points. We never say it, but like, comment, and subscribe. I always forget to tell people to like and comment. But yeah, we had a really good comment about that. I don't know. It's very French. Some of the things that you've told me are very French. This very well thought out rebuttal also made me think like, oh, it's just very vibey French, emotional through line kind of like it intrigues me more knowing that you find Act 3. I don't know, not lesser. You haven't really said that, but you feel like it falls off in Act 3. I don't know why it intrigues me more, because it makes me think maybe I'll have a different opinion of it. Because I'm contrarian like that. Or I also just like the French mentality on some stories. Yeah, I don't know. Clair Obscure, it's still talked about. Like, people still talk about it pretty consistently.
I mean, it is a discussion or the ending merits discussion one way or the other. But to me, it's not about, because some films, the endings are all meant to be discussed. Like Total Recall, was it a dream? Was it not a dream? The whole thing at the end, right? And to me, it's not whether about like was Mael right, was Verso right, whatever. That we can you can talk about that all you want. It's just the fact that like nobody said anything. Like the whole rest of the cast was just, they don't get a line. And that's just the part that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It was like, okay, well, regardless of your rationale, you went through the whole game with these characters. They all talked constantly. They always, got a word in. They always had an opinion on something. There was always something there where they had things going on in their own personal character, character arcs, character lives. And the fact that it just completely it doesn't matter what we're not going to give them a line. We're not even gonna we don't hear from them really. So it's like kind of felt like I don't know. It felt like really weird. Like it just, to me, it did. It rubbed me the wrong way. Like I'm not asking. I don't think anything needed to change. Nothing needed to change in the endings. Like I'm not asking for things to change. I'm just saying like why was
some reaction shots.
I would have liked something from the rest of the cast I spent the whole game with. It's weird where it feels like you can see the writer forgetting the characters he wrote on page, like on screen.
Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes you're just like you're getting real into it, and you forget to write anything for that person. I get it.
Yeah, it's like, did you forget about this?
They're there, they're around. Actually, speaking of they're there and they're around, another game that is definitely going to get forgotten, and unfortunately, because it's really good. And then I'll let you have the final game to talk about in the episode, because there's not a whole lot we haven't said about this game. But South of Midnight is a great game, great art style. I think totally going to be forgotten around awards time. I don't know if anybody's going to remember it. Not because it's bad or forgettable, just the conversation moved on so fast. Like, it just moved on.
South of Midnight is a game that will be completely forgotten because of Clair Obscure's soundtrack, but it should absolutely at least be nominated for soundtrack of the year. And for me, it's like, wow, we had 2 games with really great soundtracks this year. Well,
Right.
maybe more than 2. Honestly, like a Pirate's got some pretty great stuff in it, but yeah, a lot of people are just gonna like the award is basically just give it to Clair Obscure, obviously. And I don't even think that soundtrack's perfect. I think a lot of the environment themes leave a little bit to be desired. Like the guy wrote like 50 amazing battle themes, battle/boss themes, and he wrote like a fucking nice trove of event cutscene themes that are all great and character themes, but the environment themes. I can't even
It's a
say
lot of like
towns.
doo-doo.
I can't really say town because there's not really towns. There's kind of, but not really. But like what would be considered town and field themes, they're okay. He's not trying to make it felt like they weren't really, and even the world map theme, it just feels like they weren't trying to make it stand out anywhere near as much as the battle themes and like the cutscene themes. So that's my one sort of like irk, I guess, with the soundtrack with Clair Obscure is that like I will say nothing ill about the battle themes. I will say nothing ill about the event scenes, character themes or event scenes, but I will say the town and field was a little okay. They were okay. They were fine. They were good. They weren't bad.
I'm trying
They
to think
weren't.
what other games are going to go up for best soundtrack.
It's going to be Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I will also say the exact same thing. Where that is and the thing is, at least with Donkey Kong, a lot of people agree with me on this one. Outside of like Pauline's songs, and some of like a couple of the cutscene songs, like areas, that is a disappointing soundtrack. That is probably one
Really?
of the most disappointing soundtracks because Donkey Kong Country, you're coming off of a series that is known for having amazing music. Like really, really, really good music. And the best moments in Donkey Kong Bonanza's like music is when it's remixing an old song from Country, which says more about its new soundtrack than its old.
Well, yeah. Who were the original guys that did Donkey Kong? It's David Wise.
David Wise, Eveline Fisher did these and did the Super NES ones. Robin Beanland did Funky's theme, which was a KI theme repurposed for Donkey Kong. And then Grant Kirkhope did Donkey Kong 64. He did the rap, which is
Right.
in Bonanza as well. They're not credited, but I'll credit them.
Yeah, crazy to me that the DK rap doesn't go to no credit at all for it.
So yeah, like there's the first level Lagoon Layer and Bonanza is like it's really good. It's actually pretty good. And you're like, oh, this is gonna be pretty good. This is gonna live up. No, it doesn't. Like the rest of the level themes are just kind of
Yeah, wow. Okay. So I mean, South of Midnight has a pretty solid,
really good soundtrack. It's got fun, breezy platforming. Like they definitely err on the side of just kind of like, if you're just about to make a jump, they'll just give it to you, or you just clip onto stuff. Like there's no South of Midnight does not have precision platforming, and I think it's better the way it is because it's like, yeah, whatever, just give it to them.
Some of us, we need that. We need that little help. Okay.
I think it's breezy, fun platforming in South of Midnight, and I think the combat is fine. It doesn't hold up for as much combat as in the game. I don't think the combat's in depth enough. Like it needed to have more sauce to the combat since so much of the game kind of resorts to just sort of like throwing the same waves of enemies.
Yeah.
So, and then like in the last boss fight is literally just 4 waves of regular enemies. So,
and they
you really should have given more sauce to your combat system. But I get it, Canadians, not exactly, renowned around the world for their real-time combat system. Don't hate me, it's true.
All right,
we're no better. Let me just say that America sucks too. In fact, we arguably suck worse. So
how dare you? There's plenty of great real-time combat American games. I just can't think of them right now.
Just saying, we don't have any good combat down here in America either. So
All right, last 5 minutes of the episode. You got one more. You got one more. You're worried about getting forgotten.
I don't know about getting forgotten. Doom the Dark
Doom the
Ages
Dark
is great.
Ages. Yeah, it's Doom the Dark Ages. Yeah.
It's good. Mario Kart World's hugely disappointing. The soundtrack's great, but the rest of the game is just it's an idea that's unformed. It's them trying to shove Mario Kart into an idea without like proper. I don't know.
You're the second person I've heard say that, and the other person I want to actually. I guess we could say it. Isn't it Stealth 40K? I think is who is kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it's
He said he bounced off it fast too, which I was surprised, but I'm also not surprised because I'm like, yeah, no, that game doesn't have enough going for it, man. It just doesn't.
well. I mean, and that also has to be like it's got to be the ultimate like even-handed thing because he is a Nintendo super fan. He loves Nintendo.
Yeah.
So for him to give the mildest like, I moved on is like, oh, okay, so they maybe
Yeah,
flubbed.
I mean, he's not he's not a blind Nintendo fan because I've seen him like straight
No,
up
but
like,
he is a
be
super
like,
fan.
man,
Like, he does love.
yeah, like
Yeah.
well, because he'll be like, I'm a jerk about things, right? But he'll be like, man, I really wish he'd be like, I really wish they could, live up to their potential. For me, I'll be like, I'll be like, fuck Game Freak. They have billions of dollars at their disposal, and they're fucking ripping kids off, and you're just like, oh, they could do better. He'd be like, they should. It's
He's
disappointing, but they
kinder,
should.
is what
He's much kinder. And I'm just like, I'm just like, fuck these assholes. Like, talk about Game Freak here. I'm like, fuck these assholes. They just showed a new Switch 2 trailer today for Pokemon Zaza. I'm like, it looks like shit. You look like a fucking PS2 game running at 60 frames. You ain't fooling anyone. You ain't slick.
someday they'll do like a full 3D. You have to actually go play as the Pokemon, beat the shit out of the other Pokemon, and then it switches back to your human character, and you're doing a little mini game of.
Well, one thing I will say
You'll
is
go
about
nuts someday.
Bonanza is obviously goaty, but I was kind of getting tired in the middle of that game where I really don't like the level design because it's very 3D Mario level design where it's kind of
Interesting.
there's a lot of like it's just kind of blocks floating in the air.
Hmm.
Because Rare and Retro both really went for this organic aesthetic. Platforms always had stilts on them. Like there was always a logic. The only thing that floated in the air were the bananas and the barrel cannons. Everything else had like a logical reason for being there. Like things would crumble. Like if you're on a minecart, you could see where the minecart was connected to, and even if the thing crumbled away, it was like there was an organicness to Rare and Retro's version of Donkey Kong Country. This is This is from the Mario 3D World, Mario 3D Land, Mario Galaxy. This is from those devs. And it shows because Mario is still a lot of like, there's a block and it floats in the air and we'll put a checkerboard pattern on it or whatever, call it a day. And Donkey Kong falls into this a lot and they have a bunch of, there is like way too many challenge rooms. Like they're like shrines, like in Zelda. And you go into these shrine rooms and they don't even have a background half the time at all. They have like a singular color and some glitter sparkling, like literally nothing. It is blocks floating against a blue backdrop or a red backdrop or a green backdrop. It's like it's a fucking debug room, and I couldn't even say minimal effort. You put like half-ass minimal effort into putting a background. Sometimes you just didn't even put a background.
Do you think that just got rushed or?
No, because it's the dev team, man. I think their dev team is so fucking hyper fixated on gameplay over everything that they don't fucking care, and it's like never a priority to do anything about the backgrounds in their games. So you get very, very, very 3D Mario looking backgrounds in this game a lot of the time, and
But
it's
the gameplay
boring.
is great.
Yes, the gameplay is phenomenal, but it leaves a lot in my mind to be desired because again, Rare and Retro were very organic and thought out on their backgrounds. They wanted it to. Rare and Retro were like, okay, this is a place that could exist. Like this is a organically existing jungle island, whatever area. They don't give a fuck at EPD8. They make Mario Odyssey, Mario Galaxy, 3D World. They make blocks. They'll slap a texture on the block. They'll call it a day. It is gameplay before graphics, and in fact, not even before graphics. It's gameplay fuck graphics, almost to an extent. And it's a little annoying. But all that being said, they do, because there are some stages that are thought out and are organic and they look really good. And then it's kind of like back to the blocks again.
Yeah, so they
It's
can do it.
Oh, they can, and then they even show it multiple times throughout the game. But then they just kind of keep
Huh.
reverting to this, but blocks, and the blocks. You press a button, and the block goes do 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 do, and it goes left, and then it goes right, and you have to follow the block. Or how about blocks where there's lights on top of the blocks, and you move the light, and the shadow from the block creates a path. But blocks with shadows, and it's like, dude, there's like something about like, okay, I get it. Okay, guys, can we do more than just, I don't know, whatever. It's really more of a personal hang up for me, because I'm just kind of like, okay, couldn't you put a little bit of effort into how the background looks here? But
So I guess
and
the
it's more frustrating when they do it, and then it's just kind of like, okay, so why isn't every level like this? That being said, the last 2 hours, I would say two and a half hours of Bonanza are fucking incredible. Like, I would say it has the best post game I've seen in fucking years. And that's all spoilery, but what they do, how they do, how they do everything musically, level, everything sequence, like event sequence oriented about the last 2 hour block of that game, last level, really, level and a half. Oh, fucking phenomenal. Like,
how crazy is it going to be if we have back-to-back years where platformers are the game of the year?
Wouldn't bother me, but
but it is going to be sort of nuts.
Yeah, so to me, it's like Clair Obscur is a great game, and the ending can leave a little bit to be desired. And Donkey Kong is strong first impression. Wayne's in the middle, but my God, they're like fucking
Finish is strong.
Like, usually you don't hear about this in film where like Act 1's good, Act 2 sucks, Act 3's amazing. But that's Bonanza. I wouldn't even say sucks. I just say Act 2, you start to feel a little long in the tooth. And here's the crazy thing. I've never seen this in a 3D platformer. There's no gating in Bonanza. There's no door that requires X amount of collected bananas to continue. The whole main game, you don't have to collect anything if you don't actually want to. You really will want to, because you want to get those skill tree upgrades, but there is zero gating in the game. You can just go from crit point to crit point to crit point, and just like, you can just treat it like a level based game if you wanted to. Go all the way through to the end. You don't have to do any of the banana collecting at all. That's all post game.
That's cool.
It is kind of cool. I think it's actually kind of genius in a weird sort of way, where it's like, we have a 3D platformer. It's pretty long, actually. There's 16 levels, and they're big levels or big areas, and you don't have to collect as much as you want. If you want to see the story start to finish, you can just follow it along. We're not gonna say, hey, did you get 3,500,000 hoodly doodlies before you can pass through my door?
Hoodly doodlies. Yeah, it's that's going to be bad for the algorithm, but that's officially the name of the episode. Hoodly doodlies. 35,000 hoodly doodlies. I guess that's a good question though for any commenters, is like, hey, what's the game you think or you fear will be forgotten going into the back half of 2025, and what's the biggest disappointment for the first half of 2025?
I think from a critical standpoint, I'm afraid for Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I think from a soundtrack standpoint, I think it's South of Midnight. That game has an incredible soundtrack, and it should not be forgotten. And I think Mario Kart World is just a disappointment, period.
Solidly strong points to end on. On that note, we have producers to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Matthew K. Thank you, Matthew. And our producers for this episode are Dragon Wolf Makoto, Austinite, Zybernite, Skurnami, Croy35, LCL Mayhem, and ZZ. Thank you, dudes. We'll catch you next time.
Later, dudes.